You're listening to Espresso Shots Live. Tune in every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. for your digital caffeine.
It's a little too on the nose if you ask me. I mean,
No, it's going to be action. Welcome to Espresso Shots Live. My name is John, filming today's intro from outside in my backyard. Beautiful day in the village of Westport this Wednesday. Blue skies, birds are chirping, a little bit of a breeze coming through the backyard. Absolutely gorgeous day. I wanted to chat a little bit about things before I went live tonight because I always have a few housekeeping things that I wanted to talk about, and then often I forget as I get going live. So if you are coming to the village of Westport this week or planning on coming in the next week or so, make sure you call ahead to find out that the businesses that you want to visit are opened. Things are definitely changing, and they're changing on a weekly, daily basis sometimes. So some stores are open on certain days, some are not. Some are by appointment only. Some patios are open certain days, some are not open certain days. Do yourselves a favor and just call the businesses in advance so you're not disappointed once you get here. We don't want you to be disappointed either when you come to the village of Westport. We want you to be able to enjoy the village like you're used to enjoying the village. So we're doing our best to make sure that all the services are here for you guys. If you haven't checked out What's on Westport Facebook page yet, subscribe to that Facebook page. It's a great resource when it comes to knowing what's happening in the village of Westport. And I know that they are currently working on a what your hours are page. So there'll be a page where you can go to and find out what businesses' hours are in one resource. So that's a great spot. Speaking of What's on Westport, they've done a great little food challenge over the last few weeks where they select a unique food item. Normally it's from Kadrinkos, which is great. And they pick a product and you have to create a meal out of it and then showcase that meal on the What's on Westport page. So that was a lot of fun over the weeks and weeks that we were locked away. We did nightly What's for Supper Westport. But now they've turned it into a specific program. This week was asparagus. I didn't personally get involved in this week's challenge because the only thing I know how to do with asparagus, Amy, is to wrap it up with lots of bacon, fire it in the oven and cook it till it's nice and crispy, and the asparagus tastes like bacon. That's my go-to asparagus move. And I can make a creamy asparagus soup, which I've done for the cafe before, but it's a little bit too warm for soup for my liking anyway. What else is going on in the village of Westport? Well, speaking a bit about the Cottage Coffee House, our hours right now are 9 till 3 p.m., Monday to Friday, and then Saturday 9 till 4. We are closed on Sundays and will remain closed on Sundays for the time being. So if you're coming into the village, we're not there on Sundays, but we're there every other day. And our product, we're serving about 95% of our products that we would normally serve. I've changed a few things up, we've had to. We've extended our patio, so we have a little outdoor seating area so you can sit outside. You cannot sit inside, but you can sit outside. And we've added a 10 by 20 canopy over top of the patio, so some nice shade there as well. So on these hot days, you can sit there in the shade, sip on a cold brew. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about with you folks is we've done an original radio station for the Cottage Coffee House. So when you're sitting there relaxing, you can now listen to the show. And we decided to call the show the Frothy Coffee Sessions. So a good friend of mine named Casey Ferguson and I have been working on this for about 3 weeks, and we're hoping to have it ready to launch in a week to a week and a half. So you'll be able to sit there on the deck and listen to some local programming with some great tunes and a little bit of ha-ha mixed in, and it'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that so much. Wanted to give a shout out to Pastime Decor. They just did a great project for us again at Jake by the Lake, where we needed to replace our cloth change doors with a hard surface door, so a wood door. So I said, hey, Sean, do you have any old wooden doors? Well, Sean has a whole inventory of wooden doors, and we needed one that was about 34 inches, and he found one. Cleaned it all up. We mounted it the other day. It looks absolutely fabulous. So if you're into Jake by the Lake, check it out. And another project that they did for us at Jake by the Lake was a mantle above the fireplace. Again, another great job. And at the Cottage Coffee House, the antique windows that are mounted, there's 5 antique windows that are mounted along that sandwich station were put together by Sean and Deb from Pastime Decor. if you've not been into the shop, check him out. If you need something custom, Sean's a great guy to talk to. I'm sure he'll help you out, set you in the right direction for sure. And oh yeah, I wanted to mention on that door that Sean made, he needed a handle. Well, lucky for me, my oldest son Carter has turned into quite the blacksmith-er, or blacksmithist, or I'm sure there's a name for it. I'm sure he'll tell me what it is. But he made a great, about a 12-inch handle that he twisted all around and painted up, and he's going to mount that, I think, tonight or tomorrow onto that door. Just absolutely fabulous. So if you do need something custom-made, blacksmith-wise, pop on into the Cottage Coffee House, have a conversation with Carter. He loves to chat blacksmithing, and he'll talk to you about it. And, you know, if you just wanted to chat with him about it, there he is. I think he's done some hooks for Pastime Decor as well. And I know he's working on these really cool treble clef hangers, hook hangers. And he's got a handful of them made. You know, when he gets enough of them made, it would be a great Father's Day gift. But I know he's not ready for Father's Day. But speaking of Father's Day, there are some great gifts available. And one I'll mention because it's Cynthia's store is she has a Father's Day kit put together. I think it's a $99 price point. And I'm going to add it into tonight's show so you'll be able to see it. I believe it's a hat, a shirt, and another item as well that's all tied together. So quickly done. All you need is your sizes. Order it online and pick it up curbside, or it can be shipped to you as well. So another great thing. So I think that pretty much wraps up everything I wanted to talk about before we go live tonight. So without further ado, I have a great guest lined up for you folks tonight. Somebody that I had a great conversation with a few days ago, and looking forward to hearing a little bit more about what she has to say. So let's go grab her and let's go live. Well, welcome to Espresso Shots Live. My name is John, and I am here in my studio tonight having a cup of 49th Parallel coffee. Half calf, half regular coffee, half caffeinated coffee. Half regular? No, half regular, half decaf. Half and half. I don't need any more decaf during the evening times. I get wound up enough during the day. What's going on in your backyard this week? Are you guys... Are flowers growing? Have you planted anything? Or it seems like the weather has turned around. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And my guest today, I just checked to see if she was here, and she's not. But that's okay. I'll talk a little bit about Carrie and what she's all about. So Carrie Westlake, I met her a few weeks back, and she came in the other day, and I had a great conversation with Carrie Westlake. She went through a tough time, kind of in her life, and decided to kind of refocus on things. And in her pamphlet, she writes, there's a quote that she has here: "Success built out of failure and hard work." Man, can I relate to that? And I'm sure any small business owner can relate to that. Success built out of failure and hard work. Without a lot of hard work and a bit of failure, that's what it takes to kind of grow. So anyway, Carrie's business, what she does a few things. And one thing that was really exciting, she does a lavender sugar, and which is a fine powdered sugar that's infused with lavender. She, excuse me, gotta have a drink of coffee. I'm choking on my own spit. Anyway, she does a beautiful lavender sugar. She brought some containers into the Cottage Coffee House. Because it's so difficult for her to get out and talk to businesses, she does wholesale and retail. So she is currently looking for a retail shop in Westport that might be interested in carrying her products. And I said I'd be happy to share some of her products with some of the business owners that I know. So if you're a business owner watching tonight and you're looking to carry some of her products, I'll leave the link in the show, and you can contact Carrie and speak with her directly. I'm just going to check one more time to see if she's with me. And she is with me. So I'm going to click on her right now, and I'm going to bring her into my show. Hey, Carrie, I see you there. Just give me one moment. And we'll get you into the show. I was all ready to talk all about your products and make stuff up and kind of act like I knew everything about your products, but obviously I don't know everything about your products. But you're going to tell us all about your products. So just give me 1 second, Carrie, and I'm going to pull you in. Aha! All right. Carrie, can you hear me?
How are you?
I'm good, Carrie. Uh, nice to see you.
Nice to see you again, and thank you very much for having me on Espresso Shops. Very gracious of you.
So, Carrie, I was doing the lead in, and I was talking really not so much about your products, but just about your bio, your backdrop story. Very familiar to my own backdrop story, where worked corporately for many years. Really wanted to make a change, and change is not always easy, but you did it. So, can you tell me a bit about that, Carrie?
Yeah, well, like I said, WestBeau Cottage came about as a result of a lot of changes made over 10 years. Change doesn't happen necessarily overnight. And it was a culmination of a lot of changes I've been gradually making towards living more simply. And I know it's a cliche word, but it's something I really took to heart after, many decades of a very stressful job, as we discussed when we met a few days ago. And I wanted to do things now that bring me a lot of happiness and that I can share with everyone. And that was really important for me because I had a job that was dealing with a lot of stress and dealing with a lot of crises and whatnot. So now this is a complete change of pace to doing what I love to do and sharing that with the people around me. And it brings me great joy to bring joy to other people in the products that I make. And that's one of the most interesting things about crafters, that they have such an enthusiasm and a love for what they do, and it becomes infectious and it spills over to the people they meet at craft shows or at farmers markets or even in the retail stores, local boutiques and whatnot. And the quality of what they do, they pour their heart and soul into their craft, and it's what separates it from the mass produced or from the ordinary. And even if you normally wouldn't care about a subject matter, the fact that they're so enthused and want to share something with you, you can't help but become engaged. So yeah, that's where I am now. There's many decades after following the usual route that a lot of people do. You grow up, you go to school, you graduate, get a job, a mortgage, and a family. So,
Yeah, for sure. So, so the business is called WestBeau Cottage, and you do a few
that's
different
right.
things. You focus. There's actually two things. Let's talk first about your lavender sugar because it's. I've actually had a chance to try that the other day, Carrie. Just so you know,
Oh,
I have a blueberry tea, and I decided to do a blueberry lavender latte and put it on the menu,
brilliant.
and it
I
was
never even thought of that. Yeah.
it and it was really good. So let's talk a bit about the sugar itself.
Yeah, the sugar, again, if anyone's ever had the chance to go to a lavender farm, or even better, go to France and walk through a field of lavender, I'm sure you've fallen under the spell of the scent and just the perfume of beautiful lavender. Not everyone realizes that lavender really goes beyond perfumes or soaps or what you normally associate with toiletries, and that there's a culinary side to it. And that's the side that I fell in love with and wanted to experiment with and to explore, through the distillation process to create the oils, or just gathering the buds and mixing them with foods and whatnot to bring about another layer or another texture to things that we normally eat and have traditionally eaten, such as lemon loaves or even lemon pie or creme brulee or even whipping cream and whatnot. We're just used of adding vanilla and maybe a little bit of cinnamon, but vanilla is such a unique taste. And I'll be, full disclosure here, I think you either hate it or you love it. I have one friend who was testing it out, and she just said she couldn't get the soap idea out of her mind, so she couldn't bring herself to like lavender. So there definitely are two camps. But there's a culinary side to lavender. There's a few lavenders that are specifically suited towards using in foods. They're very floral, and this is what I wanted to look into. The next thing that I found was when I was looking at recipes or tasting lavender sugar, a lot of them just mix the buds in with the sugar and let it set. But this didn't infuse the sugar well enough with the scent of lavender and with the oil of lavender. So through many failed processes and trials, and all my neighbors and family trying out various recipes for me, I finally was able to come up with a way of grinding the sugar and the lavender buds together, so that the entire sugar is infused with lavender, I guess, essence and perfume and oil, and that it dissolves in a tea. Much more readily than having a bunch of dregs at the bottom of your tea, or whatever. And it goes beautifully with, you were mentioning blueberry tea. I never thought of that. With Earl Grey tea, it goes very, very well as well. So that's what I finally developed. And it's been reviewed by a few bakers in the region with very good results. And by Ott Foodie, Ottfoodie in Instagram. She had a following of about 20,000 followers. And I said, look, can you try my lavender and give me your honest opinion? And it was certainly 2 thumbs up. So now I'm ready to share what I love most with everyone around me. And I've created this. And I did have the initial idea of wanting to meet people in the farmers markets. Bring your containers, and I'll fill it for $5 a cup or whatever you need. But I also have it in jars, as you see behind me, for package for gift giving, because it makes a beautiful gift as usual for the person who has everything and you can't think of anything more to give them. Yeah, I think lavender sugar is something that is very useful. And I have a little card that you're showing there. On the back of it, it gives you suggestions, everything from lemonade to, like I say, creme brulees and glazes and whatnot. It goes very well with lemon products, but try it in other kinds of things, and who knows what you're going to come up with yourself. So yeah.
Yeah, just a little creativity, and it's not hard to find a use for it. So it's available, like you said, in the small containers, like I'm holding up here, and then
Yes.
larger packaging as
Yes.
well. So if you're baking, you may need a bit more than that. But for tea and things like that,
Exactly.
that's a great gift idea. And this stuff can all be purchased too on your Facebook page, Carrie. Is that the best way right now to?
Yes, yeah. If you want, you can yeah, you can contact me on my Facebook page. I do have links to Ottawa Artisans, where I have a sort of an online platform for people who want to, point, click, and buy. But because we're in the area, and I'm speaking to you in Westport, and I'm in Maberly, and I'm in Perth, and the area, Sharbot Lake, all the time, if you want to just shoot me a message on Facebook, I'll be glad to meet you there. And then, you don't have to be paying the shipping charges and everything like
Exactly.
that you have to when you're on a formal sale platform. So
And
definitely, again, want to share it with my neighbors.
exactly. And I was saying earlier too, because it's hard to get into retail places to kind of pitch your product to have them sell. I was saying if any business owners are watching tonight, Espresso Shots Live, and are interested in carrying some of your products, we've only talked about one so far, the sugar, but there are other ones as well. Contact you, and you'd be happy to deal with, whether it's maybe be the Pine Cone in the village of Westport, or there's a few other places that would definitely kind of would line up. So the other cool thing you have, and the pictures are right behind me, Carrie. I don't know if you meant to leave this for me or not, but my son found it on the
No, I
on
didn't,
the
but it's yours
bench
now.
that afternoon. I said, "Well, that was really nice of her to leave me that beeswax." But maybe it wasn't. But anyway, I have it. If you want it back, I still have it. It's beautiful.
No,
Um,
it's yours now.
Nice. So let's talk a bit about the beeswax. I mean, what's your beeswax?
Yeah, well, my first passion when I started WestBeau Cottage was candles. I've always loved candles, and ever since I was a little girl, and I melted down my pack of crayons and tried to make a candle out of it. Don't suggest that. Actually, it doesn't really work very well. But when I wanted to indulge my passion for candle making, then it was, what medium am I going to use? There's paraffin, there's soy, there's scented, there's unscented. But I really fell in love with beeswax. Beeswax is very precious. It really is a gift from nature, and it's something that, for lack of a better word, I think should be exalted. Um, a worker bee in its lifetime will make a half a teaspoon of honey, and yet that's precious enough in itself. But it will actually take 6 to 8 pounds of honey for the bees to make 1 pound of wax. So that's an idea of how precious it is.
Wow.
And I think because it's something that is such a gift, it deserves to be treated with the utmost care and with joy and with pride. So a lot of chandlers working with beeswax will make tea lights or a votive or just a plain pillar. And I wanted to really celebrate candle making and celebrate this precious gift from nature. And so I've searched the world over, basically, quite literally, with the beauty of the internet now, to find gifted mold makers and molds from all over the world, from the UK, from the States, from Australia, from China as well. And the beautiful molds that they make, these gifted mold makers, I'm able to create beautiful forms with the beeswax. And you're showing a few. Thank you very much. There, you've got one in your hand. And then in the back, I also have a few too, a luminary, because beeswax is so precious. If you don't want to burn it, well, I have this little luminary. It's a globe, but with beautiful design on it. You pop your tea light in it, and then at nighttime, and you'll see, I have a couple of photos on my Facebook page, you'll see the design come through, and it's just absolutely breathtaking. And again, you still have the scent of the beeswax. You can still smell it. It smells so beautiful, like honey, but you never burn your beeswax. But for those who want to burn their beeswax, this is a pretty cool item. You mentioned Father's Day.
Yes.
So I have here a Baron Buck candle, and it's actually what we call a 2-wick candle. Because of the odd shape, I want to be able to use the beeswax up fully. I don't want to waste any. So we have two wicks in it, and it will burn down evenly. And it's just beautiful with the buck on one side and the bear on the other side. So something for the gentleman in your life. For those who are purists, we have just the plain beehive. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's kind of a honeycomb motif, very plain, but very classic and very, very beautiful just on its own. And then, of course, we're in cottage country, so what yells cottage more than maple leaves and pine cones. So again,
Nice.
beautifully made out of beeswax. Creations you don't really see, anywhere nearby anyhow, that's for sure. I'm the only crafter that I know so far that makes all these extraordinary candles. And again, it's all about celebrating the beauty and the value of beeswax, so that it's not just when it's lit, it looks beautiful, just sitting around on the table. It's quite a conversation piece, if nothing else. So,
And I think a
all
lot.
the wax is 100%. Oh,
No, I was gonna say, and I think a lot of people will appreciate the fact that it's unscented as well. So you're just getting the smell of the beeswax, not scents that may overpower that.
exactly. For people who are sensitive or have allergies or get headaches and whatnot, definitely I don't think you could go wrong with a beeswax candle. It does have a honey scent, but it's very much natural. And I've never had anyone say that they have the same reaction as they would to a scented candle. So yeah, I'm entirely self-taught myself. Again, thanks to the internet and YouTube, I've been able to learn candle crafting techniques from people all over the world. So it really has been a activity in something I love and to excel at it. The wax, as I was mentioning, it's 100% Canadian beeswax at all times. Even though I get the molds from all over the world, it's just hard to find molds in Canada, but there's certainly no shortage of beeswax. So, I'll buy from local apiaries when they're able to sell, but I'll also buy from larger apiaries out west and in Quebec as well. But 100% Canadian beeswax at all times. And it's the best beeswax too. It's the capping beeswax. So I don't know if anybody understands that in a beehive there can be what they call brood comb, where the baby bees are kept and incubated. But there's capping wax, and that's the cleanest, whitest wax. And when you pull out a comb full of honey, and they're basically shaving off the wax to uncap the honey so that they can extract it, that's the wax that's used for the candles we make here at WestBeau Cottage.
Nice, nice. Like, I don't know what to say. There's so many great products that you have, Karen. You're a wealth of knowledge, and anybody that wants to learn a bit more, I'd highly recommend reaching out to Carrie and chatting with her. She's very knowledgeable, and I don't know a lot about candles or beeswax myself, but the molds that you have, Carrie, are beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Nice.
And I've got about over 60 molds. I'm getting more all the time. I seem to have a bit of an addiction problem going here. So my husband's about to take away my credit card. But again, I find something new and more beautiful than the last, and I'm on to it. And it's just seasonal. Whether it's Thanksgiving or Halloween or Christmas trees and whatnot. I find something for weddings, christenings. I also have a lot of people don't know that the actual beeswax is ivory when it's first made by the bee. It comes out of a gland in the bee's abdomen in tiny little scales, and it's actually ivory in color. It's by masticating it and by bringing in pollen into the hive, and mixing that's what actually gives it yellow color. But if you just filter sort of the gunk out of it when you extract it, the pollen or the bee bits and the leaves and whatnot, the dirt, you'll be left with just the yellow color of beeswax that people traditionally associate with beeswax. But if you continue that filtering process, and in my case, it's through a charcoal filter. You can also lay it out in thin sheets, and you can have it bleached by the sun, and that will bring it back as well to its ivory color. But in my case, it's filtered through charcoal to remove every last bit of pollen, and we're right back to where the bee started with ivory beeswax. So that's something that not a lot of people are aware of, and I have a lot of those for christenings and weddings and whatnot as well.
Perfect. Well, Carrie, thanks again for joining us. Again, if anybody wants to check out Carrie's Facebook page, it is, will you tell us what it is?
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely. It's under WestBeau Cottage, and it's WestBeau. So WestBeau Cottage, because it really is a cottage in Maberly. And on Instagram, it's at westbeau.cottage. And if you want to shoot me an email, again, it's just westbeau.cottage@gmail.com.
Nice. Okay, Carrie, before you leave me, I don't know if you know this, but I have an extraordinary meteorologist that does the weather for me. So I'm going to spin the weather, and then I'm going to sign out for the night. So I'm going to say bye to you, Carrie. Thanks again for joining me. It was awesome, but don't leave. Make sure you watch this meteorologist. You'll love this.
I will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good Wednesday evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Happy McSunny reporting to you live from Westport in the Rideau Lakes area. For today and the next 5 days, we're going to have hot weather. High 20s, low 30s. We're going to melt. And on a good note, strawberry season's here. Whoop whoop. Back to you, John.
And there you have it. Thanks again, folks, for joining us for another episode of Espresso Shots Live. Check out Carrie Westlake's products, and make sure you share these videos and watch. And tune in next week. We'll have another exciting guest from the area. Cheers. Bye, Carrie.
Bye. Thank you again.